This is Groundeffected. My name is your dad. Today I'm painting a little boy on a log called Parker. Hello there, Parker, good sir. Nice to shake your hand. This is my model. It is in pieces. I need to make it not in pieces and make it colorful at some point, which will be in this video, probably. This model comes from our Patreon. If you are interested in Parker, you should go and buy. In fact, even if you're not interested, just go and get the model from the Patreon, because it's our own original character, and it is not an unoriginal character. And then it was gonna be made, but I'm not a freaking wizard, so that would have been pretty cool though. I suppose we need to sandpaper all of the marks of destiny from the 3D printing of the thing, and then after that we need to primer it with some primer of the prom variety. By the way, these all come pre-supported on my channel, supported by me on the Patreon channel thing, on the Patreon. You get it pre-supported, so you don't have to.
For clarity, this model is available on the Groundeffected Patreon, pre-supported by your dad, ready to print. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? Got your protective gear, that's good.
I was born in the mask, molded by it. Good thing I have the safety glasses on. I forgot that I didn't close up its buttholes yet, so let me close up its buttholes and then sanding this thing. So obviously I needed to prime everything, and I did in fact prime everything using Kaleido Primer, and this has been the primer of choice that I have been choosing to use over the last, actually for quite a while, to be honest. The reason for my choice of this is that it is pretty quick and easy. It's not too expensive. In fact, one of these bottles lasts quite a while, and if you don't produce as many models as I do, it should last you for a very long time, which I think is a little bit more fair than the spray can of Citadel that I used to use for my primers. The other thing is that I can use the white primer as an ink and do my zenithals and volumetric highlighting just with the primer. So I feel like that's a win-win. I'm not really sure if there's any other added benefit to using it, other than I know that I'm supposed to put a primer on my model before I paint it, and this is to help the paint stick to the model, or the resin, or whatever it is that you're sticking the paint to, I guess. I'm going to quickly lay down a tint of brown onto this tree, and then move over to, I don't know what we're doing in the studio. What? Did you automatically try to fuck me around with the colors? Why on top of God's green earth do we have baby blue and orangey? Look at this. Does that look like it's fucking red to you?
That is red.
That's not red, Frankie. So based on this assumption that I have made that you have tried to screw me over a little bit,
no, if it's wrong, you know it's because I'm disabled.
Well, that's not an excuse for doing that.
But I can't see him properly. I thought it was red.
Do you see the spider?
Yeah, he's a different
Where
red.
you actually... Oh my god. What color is the sock? It's grey.
Yeah, I think so.
That maybe makes it easier for me to do the shoe red. Because that's what I was worried about, is if I do... Like, I'm literally worried about this middle section and the patch anyway, because painting red is a suck. And then I have to paint a shadow into the red as well. But then to paint the shadow into the red over the top of the blue, it's going to wreck the blue. And then that... all roads lead to masking at some point. And I think we understand what I feel about masking.
You like it.
It can suck the farts right out of my butt. While I paint the red and blues, I just want to quickly mention that this model was sculpted for us by Tariq Saber. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Please go and check him out and check out his work. I have put a little bit of it on the screen right now, but genuinely go check out his Instagram, and also he makes his own models as well. So please go and check out and support the artists that we work with on the channel. This is really obviously a very important thing to me personally. I just want to make sure that everybody is getting their fair time on the stage or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but what I do know is that after I'd painted Talasar blue as the blue color instead of whatever that baby blue was that Frankie's colorblind eyeballs decided it would be, I then used a blue ink in the shadows to create a nice contrast between the shadow and the highlight areas. I'm going to use red ink on Ben the Spider, and then that same red ink on the shoes or slippers of Parker. I will explain to you in a little bit who this guy is, and hopefully you'll stick around to hear more about that a little bit later. Put the camera over here, looking downwards, up from the top and more like that, and then you just be like, brushes. It might be worthwhile explaining what this is. Orange brushes, and these were sent to me. This is a small company, which is literally just two hobbyists, and they make their own brushes, and they sent these brushes to me. There's a bunch of different sizes. What did they say they were? Was it sable?
Yes.
So there is hair on the brush.
That feels so nice and soft.
It just says fine hair. A synthetic shade brush. That's this one. Size 3 Kolinsky Sables, and then these are fine hair dry brushes. So we can speculate on what kind of a hair it is. I'm gonna go with camel.
One thing that they said about that I think is worth essentially pointing out is that each of the paintbrushes are coloured on the end, aren't they? So that you've got a bit of a shorthand reference as to what size it is.
Yeah, but you're colorblind, so you don't even know. They're probably
No.
just all red to you. This is a brush soap, by the way, which if you try smell, it smells so good, honestly. But it has been made in the UK by my next door neighbour, which is handmade by Wendy. It is some money.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We haven't even put it on the website. We'll figure that out later. But the point is, we're going to start selling it. Thwip, 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 thwip.
Please give me the bloody thwip thing and stop thwipping the thwip thing. I want to say a massive thank you to Orange Brushes for making us this video possible, because technically they sponsored this video. So let's all say thank you to Orange Brushes in the bottom of the comment section, and also go check them out, by the way. It's just one of those things. Small companies making things is a tough thing to do. Speaking of small companies, we made our own soap. We have not put it online yet, but this is probably the third time I've mentioned it, so this is kind of like the last roll call to, if you want to get the brush soap, then definitely let us know in the comment section so that we can make sure to get Frankie to put it in our shop. If I can, I'll try get him to put it in by this video, but it probably won't be. And obviously now that I have actually painted a full-on grape, we can probably start to get some skin tones on that, and then get over to the table and test out these brushes. And for information about skin tones, I have literally over 300 and something videos. I don't even know if it's probably even more by now. So if you want to know how I do skin tones, there are many videos in my backlog that you can watch to figure it out for yourself. I want to quickly talk to you about this character. This is Parker, by the way, and you might say, well, that sounds very similar to something you know. In fact, he uses the same hand gestures as somebody that you know. Well, this is because I really like Spider-Man. I don't know if you know this, but I really like Spider-Man, and I wanted to make a character that was just a little bit something different, something my own, and technically Frankie's as well, because we came up with this concept together. But basically, this is a little kid, and there's a lot of difficult things that kids go through. We all were kids at one point, so we know exactly most of those things, or at least most of us know those things, but it's not easy being a kid. So this kid's life is very different, because technically he is, when he sleeps at night, oh, this is going to be so hard to explain, but basically the kid goes to sleep at night, and when he goes to bed, there is this spider, and the presence of the spider, which I say is the spider that bit Peter Parker, but Frankie doesn't agree with me, but I don't care what he thinks. So in my opinion, the spider that bit Peter Parker lives underneath this kid's bed, and the presence of the actual power from that spider is what gives Parker his powers. However, Parker is asleep, and this happens in his dreams. So when he goes to bed at night, he somehow is out fighting crime, and that's where he finds himself often waking up and wondering why is this happening. But it doesn't really make sense, because obviously he's sleeping, and then when he tries to tell his parents, then his parents just think that, you know, he's just talking absolute nonsense, because what do you mean you were fighting crime in the middle of the morning? You were sleeping in your bed. So technically we're still not sure whether it's his dreams that this is happening and he's actually out of body experiencing this, or if this is actually a real thing. I don't even know. This is our own character and I have no idea, other than it's extremely complicated. If we think about the Spider-Verse in the way how depth and complicated the Spider-Verse is not even half as complicated as trying to explain the story behind Parker. But what you do need to know is that it's an original character, and it really plays to a bunch of things in my life, Frankie's life, everybody's life perhaps that's watching this, and it really kind of brings me closer to the character of what Peter Parker is for me, or at least Spider-Man anyway. And the fact that we called him Parker, I mean, it makes sense. The Spider's name is Ben, because I guess that makes sense as well. It was just all trying to tie back to being Spider-Man without it actually being Spider-Man. And that's the way that I explain it. That's all I have for you, I think. Basically, I hope that I explained it in enough of detail, but I probably didn't. And you're probably wondering what the heck is going on with the painting, but I guess the most astute of you could have figured it out by just watching. So that's it about the story of Parker. If there is any more, and you think you have any ideas to add to Parker's story, or you think you have a way of explaining how this works, well then leave it in the comment section, obviously. One thing I wanted to mention about the whole thing with Parker was that a lot of kids, like especially like when I was younger anyway, that used to kind of grow up, and the kids would, like, the teachers would just say the kids are naughty, and maybe the kids had problems, maybe they had home issues, whatever the case is, but they always used to just get labeled as naughty. And I feel like this is something that comes across with Parker. He is trying to do his best to do good for the world, but at the same time, whenever he tries to speak to adults about it, he's just naughty. And maybe that's something dark inside of me, or maybe it's not, I don't know. But either way, I'm really excited about this model, because I feel like this is originality that I really enjoy. Me and Frankie spent like probably about a day at least just like going back and forth about different ideas, and then we let it sit aside for a while, and we didn't actually do anything with it. And then about a week or two later, we kind of went over ideas again, which led us into a deep conversation about Parker, this thing that doesn't even exist but somehow became a thing, and now it does exist. And then obviously I reached out to Tariq, and Tariq then helped me to make the model. So that's just the story of how Parker came to be, and a rough story about what Parker is. I'm gonna try bend Frankie's arm and see if we can get him to maybe make us some 1 or 2 pages of comics about Parker. If that's something you want, well then also leave that in the comment section. I guess this comment section is just going to be full of so much weird stuff, and nobody's going to know what's going on. And I'm bad enough at replying to comments as it is, so anyway, let's get on to the painting, and let's talk about what I just did there. And you may notice that I put down deck tan before I painted the red, and this kind of brings me back to when I said earlier in the video that painting red is a suck. And it is a suck, because red, it's one of those colors that does not like to go over a dark color. It will go over a dark color, but then you'll have a dark red. If you want a vibrant red, you need it to go technically over white, but sometimes white may be too stark for you to put the color over. And so this is why my color of choice in most cases is going to be deck tan, because it is a light enough color for me to put light colors over the top, but also helps to kind of keep them true to themselves. What I do with the circle in the center of his chest is I don't put the white or the deck tan over the edge fully, but when I paint the red, I do paint the red over the edge fully. And what this does is it creates a darker red around the outside of the circle, and a lighter red where the red went over the top of the deck tan. I then also used a wash to carefully go around the edge and just paint a very thin line around it, just to give it a little bit more detail, so it wasn't just a completely flat disc. Because I also don't want to put any symbols on there. I don't want to take this too close to actually being Spider-Man. It's more like a kid who really loves Spider-Man but doesn't even know that Ben lives underneath his bed. But I guess he probably does know, because Ben's on his arm and Ben helps him fighting crime. I don't know. At some point we decided that Ben was the one that shoots the webs, and he himself, Parker, doesn't shoot the webs, and it's actually Ben that shoots them. And maybe he just doesn't even know that Ben's there. So again, if you want to add any lore to the Parker story, well, there is a whole space for you to type that down below. Now I had to paint a spot on the top of Ben's back, and I painted this deck tan at first, and that's because, again, it's a light color. I want the color to be as true to the color out of the bottle as possible, and so putting down deck tan white or a very light neutral gray is the only way to do something like this, which is one of the things you need to take into account. If you're wanting to paint light colors over dark, you need to paint something underneath them first. This will help to make the colors look a lot more vibrant, and this is why my colors look super bright and saturated. Let's move on to the portrait of Parker, and I'm going to take some Magos purple and paint that over the inside of his mouth and all in the creases of his teeth. This is going to help to create some depth in there when I come back and paint each tooth later. I'll put that same color in his eyes as well to give it like a pink look around the outer rim of the eye, and then I will paint his hair brown. It's like a mousy brown, and maybe it could have been a little bit darker, but I really didn't want to like push the features too dark. He's a young boy, I would say probably 12 to 14 in that sort of area, and so his hair is not as dark. I don't know why that. I feel like my kids both had very light hair until they got older and their hair started darkening up, so that's something that was going through my mind when I made that choice, and I thought that it was important to let you know that that's how I think when I make color choices. Not only that, but obviously that is a part of the way that I think. Let's just quickly add a shade to that hair just to give it a tiny little bit more depth, because one color is obviously not good enough. So a little bit of an Agrax Earth shade in the shadows gives it some depth. I'm now going to paint every single one of his teeth, and the best way to paint teeth is to paint them individually, and you can kind of control the size or the thickness of the gap between the teeth depending on how much you want them to stand out, I guess. Usually in the past, for female statues, what I would do is paint probably Magos purple over the lips, because I feel like it's a nice neutral color. But for male statues, I find it better to use something like Reikland Flesh Shade, because this still tints the color of the lips so that they're a different color, but it doesn't look like they're wearing like lipstick or lip gloss or something. Otherwise, I mean, whatever they want to do, I'm not going to tell them, but you know, in certain circumstances, you don't want to paint the matte woolen jersey with the shiny gloss, because it might look weird. So I feel like this is the exact same concept here. It's kind of very intuitive when it comes to painting. At least that's the way I feel, is that if you think about it and think about the object you're painting, that helps to kind of convey what you're doing. That's the whole point of art, isn't it? You're just kind of interpreting things that you see in the world, I guess. That's the whole point of art, at least. That probably, I don't know actually what the point of art is. I don't even know why we're here. But what I do know is that when I'm done with faces, I always put a little bit of gloss in the eyes and the teeth and over the lips. That makes them look a little bit better for some reason. And then I put the head on this model and call him done. Yeah. I know, this was a different video. It was a little bit weird. There's probably a bunch of people that clicked off way earlier than usual. And if not, well then maybe we found a new niche for me just talking complete waffle in a video. Although we did start this video off almost as if it was normal, but then kind of not, but then also... Anyway, you can tell it's been a long day and a long week for me, to be honest, but I've had a very satisfying week this week, and we have done 2 more spider things to add to my Spider-Verse in my own collection. And of course, if you're wondering what that means by 2, well, last week, well, actually during this week, the last video, was in Dr. Octavius, and so you should go check that video out, probably. There probably won't be a link for that, because I've said too many things about links, and I don't think it's possible for me to add them all in here, because I will forget about all of them. But this is a good time in the video for me to say thank you so much. Honestly, thank you to everybody. Genuinely, I could not do this if it wasn't for the support of everybody that watches the videos and comments and follows, and just it's so... One of the best things I've ever done in my life. I've kind of found like my true calling. I never thought making videos and painting things would ever be a thing that I would do, but it fits so perfectly into my life. I want to make some more things though, so look out for that. There is definitely more making of remote control stuff coming as soon as I can figure out some time to do that kind of nonsense. Either way, I of course showed all my Patreons, and they probably are ending now, the credits scene. And that's because those are the people that really truly help make this channel what it is. If without them the lights couldn't blind my eyeballs and I would not be here, but I've waffled way too much. I'm going to call this video done and tell you the thing. And the thing is, if you didn't like anything you saw, I don't care, and it is now time for you to f*** off.